Good morning. It's Friday. We did it. We made it another week. And now everything is gauged by Tuesday's arrival of Election Day here in Alabama. And to get you there, you have the right side. I'm Allison Sinclair. JP is here. Why are you giggling already?
Whatever you said, everything. Would you say everything?
We made it?
No. You said everything something on Tuesday. Everything.
Tuesday?
But everything you said, everything gay, and I thought you were gonna say everything's gay. I was like,
everything is gay.
Okay. Everything is gay.
It kind of is these days, actually.
Everything gay.
I mean, DC's being gay, Montgomery's being gay, the liberals are being gay, some Republicans are being gay. Can you say that? Are we about to get canceled?
Everybody is gay. Except us, of course. And you.
Well, some days, maybe we are.
Well, are we?
I mean, not in the literal sense, but like some days. I won't exclude us. I think we have the potential. No, that's not what I was saying at all. I was saying everything revolving around, or at least in our little microcosm of the world, which is funny because we feel like everybody knows everything about all these political things. Everybody's as invested in the race and the PACs and the connections to connect the dots.
Yeah.
You know, that we are. And like, I went to dinner with a friend last night. It was her birthday. She's probably my best friend. She is super conservative in terms of the way she lives her life. She knows what I do. She has zero clue what is happening in the world. I'm not even sure her actual birthday is on Election Day. I don't think she's put it together that there's like a whole monumental vote for the state of Alabama and possibly the country coming on Tuesday. It's just her birthday.
Yeah. And this is actually a good conversation because, we had a conversation with someone yesterday and this came up of, you're in this world and everybody in your world is all in on politics and this thing. And so you kind of get used to the echo chamber or what your revolving door, and you think that everybody knows what you know and everybody knows something, like all these races are important. And then you kind of step out of your bubble. Like my best friend in the world, who I hadn't seen in like a year until a couple months ago. And, we were hanging out and I kind of had to like tell him because he has no idea a lick about politics. And so it's kind of refreshing, honestly, because then you kind of step back and you realize how like down the rabbit trail you got, and you're like, wait a second. And you have to explain to him like, okay, well, this office does this does this is important because this. And then you realize sometimes we make a mountain out of a molehill because it's all like, it's our thing. But then you take a step out and you're like, nobody is even paying. Like they're living their lives. They don't even know what the lieutenant governor's office does. Just a random example. Like it is refreshing a little bit, but it's also crazy to think about because these are important offices and we are all in on it. And then you step out and you're like, do you even know there's an election Tuesday? No.
And another conversation with a friend yesterday, they were, they're working on a campaign and they were saying they were out at an event and this lady showed up at this event and she's not political. She just came to hear this one candidate because she had heard things about them and wanted to meet them. And my friend said, May 19th, are you going to vote? And she was like, no, we don't vote in the primaries. We don't even know what that is. This is an older lady too. Like they have no clue. And that's what is so important for people. And I want to shake everyone and go, know your audience, know where you are in the world. You're in Alabama. The primary is the election. I say that all the time because a Republican, unless you're in District 7 with Terry Sewell, a Republican is going to win every seat. Maybe on some of your city counts, and I don't know. But in general, so the primary is where each party, the Republican Party, the Democrat Party, they choose their nominee, which means you are choosing who is going to win in November. Once you get to November, it's too late.
Yep.
You have no choice.
Pretty much. Except for the one-offs like, when Doug Jones got elected. But that's because the
Yeah.
primary was so bad. Like, nobody showed up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's because Republicans got involved and pushed him and got him elected. So it is funny. It's refreshing, and then it's also terrifying.
And that's the other
Yeah.
half of it, of how do you get people to care enough, but also not everybody should care as much as we care because it can be unhealthy. But we do need you to care a little bit. Care
Be
enough.
unhealthy.
Just care enough.
As our friend Grayson says, he's like, "Are you sick?" And there's a good sick and there's a bad sick. And part of like you can be bad sick with politics or you can be good sick.
I've
That
had
would be a good Gen Z word of the
That's
day.
true. I actually, it was Phil one time, and I was kind of hitting the peak or starting to peak in terms of like my real interest in politics. I've been in the business for like 6 months or so, or maybe a little longer, like 9 months. And I remember there was one day he like had to give me a conversation of like, um, you need to turn politics off or like give it a break for a little bit, because he could tell I was getting a little jaded and like really, because I'm obsessive and it's a good quality to have. But when you get obsessive on politics, it can really mess you up.
It can.
You can't control it, and the people are gross, and it's all, for the most part.
It's unpredictable. And yeah, you just kind of it's like a riptide.
Mhm.
And you think you're making headway, you think you're, like, really getting closer to shore, you're making a difference, but you just have lost perspective, and you're just caught up in the tide,
Yeah.
and not that tide.
Roll Tide.
Ugh. And, are along for the ride. So, and I do you struggle with that? Like, sometimes I go and I did this last night on the phone with someone, I'm like, "What are we even doing? Like,
Yeah.
why am I giving my time, my energy?" I could be out playing mahjong and golf every day and then going to girls' lunch. Like, that some days sounds way more fun. And then you're like, there's this thing of, like, God and his calling on your life, and it's sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't.
Mhm.
And, when you're doing what he's called you to do, you can't walk away.
No.
It's harder to walk away.
I've gotten a lot better at like catching myself. I think it was actually when we first bombed Iran last summer. I got super jaded and really because it was one of those things like you said, like I was so against it and you felt so out of control but you really just get way off the rails. But what's funny is like I go through the week and then I kind of step out of the bubble on the weekends and then like come like Sunday, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get back in.
It's
Like,
time to reengage.
because you really do love it, even when it pisses you off. But like whenever you take a break and just, it's like, okay, I'm back. But that's the thing of we need to get people to engage enough, and that's the thing because they see the oversaturation of ads, the negative ads, shoving it down your throat, and that turns them off. Where it's like you guys need to care. You don't have to. It don't have to be your thing, but you need to do at least enough to care because it is important. These people are who you're voting for, and they will. I mean, they are over you to a certain extent. What?
I don't know why I'm thinking back to your face when I said we could be gay, and you were like, okay, not literally, JP. Hey, yesterday, do you have a Gen Z word of the day? Because if you don't, the term clubbing
Okay.
was used, and I don't know that in the sense of man, Allison, Rightside is clubbing this week, and I don't know what that means. Is that like zzz, 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 zzz?
No, and I assume that's what it means, but that was actually new to me. I've never heard of that one.
Okay, well, look that up. I have a regular grown-up word of the day
Okay.
that is very applicable. I like that word.
Applicable.
Yes. Applicable. Applicable. All right, here's what the definition is. Describes something that has many literal or figurative twists and turns. The blank mountain path rewards climbers with a stunning view of the town below. Getting approval for a project of this magnitude is a blank process. I think that their definitions are this is from Merriam-Webster. I think there are lots of adjectives that you could put here.
Would I use the word normal like regularly?
Maybe.
The I don't know. The only word that comes to my mind is like unpredictable.
Yeah, but we're gonna go with torturous.
Okay, well,
That's not what I would say torturous means. I don't know, but torturous describes something that has many literal or figurative twists and turns. Watching redistricting is torturous.
yeah, when I think torturous, I think, yeah, like exhausting.
Yeah, twists and turns on a mountain path or in politics.
Brad from Crimestone said labyrinthine.
Of course he did.
Lab-
Don't even know what the Oh, maybe like
Uh,
labyrinth, like a is he talking? I can't read it. I can't see it. I wish I could.
labyrinthine is an adjective that describes something highly complex, intricate, and confusingly convoluted.
Okay. Well, labyrinthine works too.
Okay. Is it okay if my Gen Z word is a Gen Z phrase?
Yeah, but I need clubbing.
Oh, sorry. That's right.
Just do that one first because I didn't know how and we were in like a giant group text and I was like, I
Yeah. It just
feel
means
old.
it just means like y'all are crushing it, but that was his way of y'all are clubbing this week. Like
I feel like it between bingo and Tuscaloosa this week. I feel like on Friday today I have been clubbing.
Can you imagine walking in the door downstairs and you just hear from our door, like in the hallway, like, and you open the door, it's like,
some days that's accurate.
okay, I got a Gen Z phrase, and I use this one a lot. It's 3 words, blank, blank,
Okay.
blank. This phrase means to give someone space to focus and do what they're good at without interference. It encourages letting someone take the lead or run with their idea. In a sentence. All right, everyone. All right, it says, all right, everyone just needs to step back and blank.
I can't say what I thought.
What?
Everybody needs to step back and chill the F out. No? Cook?
That's one of the words. Blank, blank,
and
cook.
let it cook?
Almost. Let them cook.
Oh, it's pointed at someone.
Yes, like let him cook.
Okay. And does cook mean like let them self-destruct? Is this
No.
when I say I am going to just give them enough rope to hang themselves?
No, it's the opposite actually. Like
Just let them go. They're on a roll.
yes. Yeah. Like somebody
Okay.
recently texted me an idea in a group chat we were in and said, "Hey, this would be really funny." And I immediately go, I said, "Let me cook." And like that's the thing of like, okay, just let me cook, let me hand. And then it's
Okay, I
like
remember what that was in reference to.
yeah. And it's maybe I walk in and see Allison and she's like on her phone, like on the walking pad, solving the world, being the kingmaker, and say, just let her cook. Let her cook.
Did you know I am the kingmaker?
Yeah.
Like
I knew that
I don't
second I met you.
know if you know, but I basically run the world.
Yeah.
Like
And there'll be more on that soon.
I can barely run my house and get Jared's laundry done, but somehow I have time to coordinate every candidate, every major organization in the state of Alabama, every media organization, several.
All of them actually.
Elections, and I also control the weather. I just had to let y'all know.
Can you make it sunny next Tuesday for our quilling, please?
Hey, I actually have been working on that. Can we say who's going to be quilling with us?
I think we can. We're gonna make a graph and an announcement later, but
yeah. So quilling, the weather started out, but I have been working on my weather manipulation skills, and I have the rain chances down to 15% as of last night, and so I think we're good. I've got a little more like
a little more working to
typing to do to the email to God that says, "Sup, it's me,
Mother Nature.
We working together." But we will be quilling, which means we will be joining together with the people on May 19th. We are going to have a tailgate. Part of it is quilling sounds very British and actually it was fun. We're tailgating. We're going to have a tent. We're going to have flags. We're going to celebrate America's 250. Is that what we call it? We don't say 250th.
No, the 250.
We're going to be celebrating the 250. Yo, yo.
Yo, yo.
We're going to be celebrating Alabama and the greatest day ever in the history of the world. Our independence, our nation, our right to vote and have a say. And so we will also be doing the show live from 10 to 12. We may or may not have an exit poll. We're working on that. We're going to see if we can get some assistance to go do an exit poll. We are going to have Chairman of the Republican Party, Scott Stodhagen. No, D. Stodhagen. Scotty will be there.
Yeah.
Representative Susan DuBose will be stopping by. And U.S. Senate candidate Jared Hudson will be coming by. We may or may not have former Secretary of State coming by as well to talk about elections. We'll see. But it's going to be a great day on Tuesday. I'm actually super excited. Abs has the best ideas because she's like an old soul and she comes up with like old things to make cool again.
Well, what's funny is that her reasoning is not like, let's make or let's make election day fun. Let's tailgate. Let's drink. It's like in the 16th century, England used to do this before voting. So we're going to pay homage to them.
Okay. But that's why we're so good, JP.
Yeah.
We're so good because there's Abs. Then there's, dare I say, me and you, who were like, well, you haven't said this because people might say things about you. I'm really excited. You know, those Walmart hats that are like cowboy hats that are sequined with American flag.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm excited about the American flag hat, the chandelier that Abs is going to bring hottie toddy style for our tailgate. And I don't think we can make like drinks, but like we're going to have snacks and some drinks and it'll just be fun.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Like life is hard. So when you can, make it fun.
That needs to be a
Dun. Thank you.
Shall we yammer it up?
No, it's not time to yammer.
We got a minute or two. Okay, well, if we're gonna
wait, are we going out early?
No.
It's only 10:16.
That's 10:18. That clock needs fixed.
Oh, maybe we should yammer.
I think we shall yammer.
Wait, when are we going to get to my Waymo video?
we can do it to start next segment if you want, real quick.
Okay. Well, and then let's lay out the rest of the show. So we're going to yammer, get to some Alabama news stories. Then when we come back, maybe KIV high stepping in blackface.
Have you never seen that before?
No.
Wow. I've seen that several times.
But of course, the Democrats are bringing it out now to prove a point or whatever they think. Waymo is being way low and lame. Then we have the Bussy brief at what time? 10:45?
10:40.
10:40. Then we have Katherine Robertson in studio at 11. And then after that, it's like all downhill. Wheels may come off.
Talking Tuberville, redistricting.
Oh, yeah.
Clown World to end the show.
We have lots to do. All right, let's yammer.
All right, we gotta do my sound effect. Yammer.
That's good. You need to record that.
You
need to clock it.
And for those who don't remember, Yammer is the top 3 Alabama news stories of the day in 5 minutes. And we will not call it the 5 things you need to know today. We'll just call it Yammer. We'll start with Rep. Dale Strong. Safeguards. This is from Yellowhammer News. Sherry Blevins wrote this one. U.S. Rep. Strong introduces Safeguards Act to reinvest aviation security fees into TSA upgrades. As air travel demand continues to rise nationwide, U.S. Rep. Dale Strong of Huntsville is backing new legislation to ensure airport security fees are used for aviation security improvements rather than being redirected to other areas of federal spending. That seems common sense. Strong recently introduced the bipartisan Safeguards Act alongside U.S. Rep. Tim Kennedy, Democrat of New York. The act would require revenue collected through the federal 9/11 passenger security fee to be reinvested into airport and aviation security upgrades nationwide.
Okay, what does that mean? Like more facial recognition?
I don't think so. It says passengers currently pay $5.60 fee on one-way airline tickets to help fund aviation security improvements. So apparently not all of the $5 or over $5 fees are going to aviation improvements. They're just going to anything. You just throw it into the pool.
So why do we need more money for security?
It says under the legislation, $500 million annually would be directed towards checked baggage explosive detection systems. So that
I support that.
You can't bring your monster on. And then while another $250 million would support checkpoint technology upgrades intended to improve screening efficiency. Oh, okay. Well, here's the problem you're not going to like. And modernize airport security systems.
So now they're going to do like a brain retina scan to read your thoughts before you get on.
So they're not even going to have like a camera that you have to look into. They're going to implant them in the TSA workers' eyes. So like when they're on their thing, they're just going to go, look up, please. All right, we're good.
JP, I'll be going through TSA like this.
Yeah.
You will not see me. I am invisible. Okay, well, we will watch that one. Angela Harris, the mother of murdered college student Anaya Blanchard, endorsed Pamela Casey in the Republican primary for Attorney General on Wednesday, calling the longtime prosecutor the leader Alabama's victims deserve. Said Casey did not prosecute the case against Yazid. Harris spoke out to promote the Blount County District Attorney's record of fighting for victims and pushing back against lenient bail practices. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it is. That's because Katherine Robertson got a big Club for Growth endorsement yesterday.
She did.
And so that
which is crazy.
Yeah. This endorsement comes right after. I remember the Anaya Blanchard story. Like that was really heavy and big. So the fact that her mom and the guy recently, his trial was recently, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's a big deal.
Do we have time to do the college football story?
We do. This is Michael Bronner from Yellowhammer News. SEC remains only conference pushing back as Big 12 and ACC support 2014 college football playoff expansion. Ugh. Radical change has become almost a daily occurrence in today's day and age of college football. By far the most contentious has been the structure of the college football playoffs. This is now a push from the powers in the sport, largely television networks and a certain selection of conference commissioners has started to snowball for the next edition to be for 24 teams to double it, with two major power players becoming the latest to throw their support behind the proposal. So the SEC is the only one. Sankey said that focus hasn't changed on the SEC's desire for 16 teams. We're open to the conversation, but there are a lot of ideas out there that have to be supported with analysis and information, not speculation.
What do you think about that?
I don't think we need to expand it even.
It's 16. So stupid. It's like you get a trophy and you get a trophy and you get a trophy. I think 12 is kind of perfect.
I actually thought the sweet spot was 8, but 12 I can live with. But 12 is the most, I think.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just. I want to say gay.
You can say.
It's really just stupid.
Well, they're working on expanding March Madness even more. So it's just
it's okay. I'll still win it all.
Yes, you will. It's just big TV that wants money.
Well, there's your yammer for the day. Lots of news in a short amount of time. Y'all, we will be back with it's getting worse. Blackface and Waymo and the Bussy Brief. We'll be right back.
We are joined by election integrity expert, Dr. Douglas Frank. We're thrilled to have him back with us. This time, we have a little more time for him to lay out just exactly what's going on, and what he has to share will blow your mind. Welcome.
Great to be with you ladies again. That was a fun interview last time, so I'm glad to be back.
It was fun. And now we have more time to dig in. When you left last time, we both looked at each other and were like, oh, my word. Because for years, we've been told that Alabama is the gold standard in election integrity. And apparently, we have some things we can work on.
Every state says they're the gold standard. It's like I think all the secretaries of states get together in some conference and say, let's all agree we're all the gold standard or something like that.
Yeah. Well, tell
Seems like it.
us a little bit about yourself before we really get into some of the data and the things that you've discovered. How did you get started in this? What is your background?
Sure. I'm a physicist. I was in the lab for 40 years, basically. And when I came out of the lab, I was like, what happened to my country? And what really brought me out was COVID. It was the COVID pandemic. I was teaching at a special school for high IQ kids. And one of my kids was a Chinese exchange student from Wuhan. And in November of 2019, I was teaching differential equations class, and he said, Dr. Frank, can we learn how to model epidemics? And so I began teaching how to model epidemics in December of 2019. And then the Wuhan epidemic took off, and we modeled it, and then I was modeling it in America. So everybody got to know me across the country because of my COVID modeling. I was modeling every country, every county in the country, and 30 countries, and I had like 150,000 people coming to my websites every week to how many people are going to die this week in our county. I mean, it seems morbid, but it's all mathematical. Epidemics are mathematical things. And so that kind of brought me into the public eye. I was in the public eye once before because I was nominated for a Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1990 for one of my discoveries. It got on the cover of Science and Nature and things like that. So
What did you discover?
Yeah. You can't leave us hanging
Yeah,
like that.
I mean,
I didn't
just
need to do that to you.
casually.
Sorry about that. Well, I figured out a way to make three-dimensional images of molecules, and it's
Okay.
the first time anybody had done that, and so it looks cool. It's so it looks good on covers of magazines, and brought me a lot of attention. For about a year, I was traveling the world teaching people how I figured that out, and then I left academics in 1996 because it was too political for me. It was disgusting to me. I didn't like
You
it.
were ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean,
truly.
in 1996, we thought the world was great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I was in Cincinnati too, and Mark Twain wrote about Cincinnati. He said when the end of the world comes, he wants to be in Cincinnati because everything happens there 10 years later.
Oh,
it's
so-
true. I had family who lived in Cincinnati. That's a great place.
Oh, yeah, and it was a great place for me to raise my kids and everything, and I'm still out there in the country. We've moved further out in the country now, so I have a lab out there. That's where I'd be right now, being a physicist out in the country. Except that then the election happened, and Mr. Lindell discovered me, and then Mr. Trump, and so it's like now I've been thrust into this debate on elections. And I guess one of the next big thing was that when Pennsylvania did their audit, Doug Mastriano asked for an audit at the end of November of 2020. I was brought in as one of the 6 people that did their state audit because I'm a numbers guy, and they knew I was a numbers guy because they'd seen my COVID stuff. So that's really what thrust me in. Then Mr. Lindell discovered he made a documentary about me called Scientific Proof. It was his second documentary. And then Trump featured me at his first rally after he was out of office in Wellington, Ohio. So suddenly tens of millions of people knew who I was, and everybody was saying, Dr. Frank, come help us, come help us. And here I am. Although in those days, we thought it was just going to be a 6-month job.
Yeah.
All
for
we
sure.
have to do is show everybody what's going on, and everybody's going to go, "Oh no, we have a problem. I got to fix it." That's what we thought. And I spent most of 2021 meeting with secretaries of states, AGs, hacking into their elections right in front of their faces, showing them that they were not the gold standard they thought they were, and it was quite a eye opener for me. I mean, when I'm a scientist, to me, you set up an experiment, you get the evidence, you present the evidence, and everybody goes, "Okay, now we do this." I was just assuming if I show everybody the evidence, that they would react accordingly.
Why don't they react accordingly?
I think there are multiple reinforcements of the current system. The first one is the oldest story ever. Since when does government relinquish power to the people? Governments centralize power. And right now in our country, the elections in every state are centrally controlled. They've been steadily, incrementally over about the last 25 years, just become centralized. Your own local clerks don't control or do anything anymore. They think they do, but they don't. And so that's a strong motivation. Also, it centralizes the outcomes of your elections. I said electrons. You put me in science mode there for a minute, and so because I was using.
No one blames
You
you.
want to go back to simpler times. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I since I was a boy, I read Wrinkle in Time when I was in 3rd grade, and ever since then, I've wanted to have my own physics lab in the country. I do, and that's where I'd be. But except my country went away, and so I have to. I'm a patriot. I have to fight for my country. You can't. There are people dying for the freedoms we have, and I think it's our civic duty to step up and do our job. I mean, think about it. All these years, I got to get government funding and scholarships to do all this great science work. It's like I'm a blessed life. So it's my turn of duty. My turn to.
Welcome back, y'all. It's Friday. It's a good day. It's not a good day to be KIV, but we'll get to that in a second. The high stepper. And it's funny. I don't know which one she is in this photo, but it looks like somebody's kind of stepping high. Literally. We're going to do the montage. Then we'll get to KIV. And then we will have the boss day brief, which actually it's going to be weird because like Amy Beth is going to suddenly appear and we're wearing different clothes. We had to film it beforehand because Caitlin Bussey is a busy girl. I don't know what she's doing, but she couldn't do it today. So don't freak out. We'll be back. I'll be back. JP will be back. Not abs. All right. Montage.
Oh, we're doing montage real quick.
Yeah. Don't you think?
Well,
or do you want to do KIV?
Do you want to briefly talk this? Yeah. I think we briefly talked. Just because they're resurfacing these old pictures of KIV with this redistricting stuff. I've actually seen this picture before.
I've never, ever. I've heard about it, and you hear lots of things about KIV that are never confirmed.
So yeah, here's some old pictures of KIV wearing blackface from a long time ago.
Can you enlarge it?
The only thing is when I enlarge it on Google, it doesn't enlarge the actual picture.
Okay, here I'm gonna send you. Well, I texted it this morning in our group chat, but anyway, I was gonna see if you could pull that one up. Here's where it came from. Gosh. Alabama. Okay. Governor KIV in blackface while a student at Auburn University, of course it had to be Auburn, did not wear blackface as she signed the bill that removes representation for a third of the citizens of the state who have a black face. Extra white. What makes you white versus extra white? Like you're like ginger pasty?
Yeah, ginger pasty, I guess.
Extra white male political leaders have also changed from wearing their stylish white hiding hoods to blue jackets, white shirts, red ties, and Florsham shoes because that's what the Grand Wizard Commander-in-Chief wears.
Gosh.
And they serve only him, not you. Now, to be clear, we knew that these racists were there the whole time. They didn't change a bit. I've heard 2 state representatives call grown men boy this week. It was how this went down that I'll always remember. The gloating, the glibness, the giddiness, and arrogance. This is Alabama Rap News 256. What is that? Alabama.
I don't know. I got the better picture pulled up.
Alabama Rap News. Okay, anyway, I need to look it up. Y'all, that's like, what? What? We don't want to draw congressional districts, Senate districts in Alabama or in the United States based on skin color, because that would be racist. But yes, let's keep drawing them based on skin color because you're racist if you don't. You cannot win with these people. And that's what I don't understand with Montgomery. Like, Montgomery is so scared of the backlash. Bruh, you just endured the backlash. Okay. It's already here. And you know what? If you do want to go 7-0, which I hope you do, you're going to have to endure it again. So why didn't we just get it done? What? I mean, you cannot satisfy the appetite of the left. You never can. So grow some balls, gumballs, and do it.
Wow.
And I hope we're going to talk about Tommy Tuberville's.
Oh, we will.
Okay. Is that in the montage? Or no, probably not in the montage.
It's not a
but we'll get there.
montage, but I think after Catherine's interview, we should go.
All right. We have so much to do, but I just am like, this is the kind of crap that you're going to hear whether you take away one district or two. It's like, when you give your child a dozen donuts from Krispy Kreme and you take away 6 and they pitch a fit, go ahead and take away them all. You're going to have to go through the fit again. This is silly.
That might be the first time you have just flat out not said like cojones or gumballs. Grow some balls.
Sorry. Jared's going to be so disappointed in me.
It's not very womanlike.
It's not, but you get it. It's like, I don't like cussing. I don't
Sometimes
say cuss words, but sometimes they're very descriptive.
Yeah.
And like, you kind of get it. But I look at Montgomery and sometimes DC and I'm like, y'all are a bunch of neutered men.
Woof. She's going there.
I'm sorry. God. And I just had one coffee. Okay. Are we going to montage?
Yeah, we'll montage.
For news.
The fraud files are back. Primetime's hunting down corruption, waste, and abuse. And today, the fraud czar J.D. Vance froze over $1 billion, headed to California. If Gavin wants the money, he needs to open up the books.
Speaker of the House, Republican Cameron Sexton, sending notice to all the Democrats in the Tennessee House and all members of the Democratic caucus removed from all standing committees, subcommittees as a result of their behavior. It includes setting fires inside the Capitol and attacking law enforcement.
We don't need it at all.
We don't need it at all.
We don't need it at all.
Fair enough. So,
Well, I mean, you could make the case, like, why are we even, we're doing it to help Israel and to help Saudi Arabia and to help Qatar and UAE and, Kuwait and other countries, Bahrain.
it also helps China.
We're actually, I told them today, I said, we're helping you.
Raul Castro may face indictment in the U.S. over the 1996 shoot-down of humanitarian planes that killed 4 people. We got the latest as the U.S. ramps up the pressure campaign on Cuba.
A grenade-type explosive device was found underwater at Big Creek Lake, the primary drinking water supply for the Mobile area. The Mobile area water and sewer system, MAW, is saying divers found this improvised explosive device while surveying the lake's dam for routine repairs. A multi-agency bomb squad team, including the FBI, Mobile County Sheriff's Office, and state law enforcement, retrieved and safely destroyed it, as you just saw.
I finally, yesterday, after we covered that on the show, I finally started seeing some other media outlets covering I keep wanting to say IUD, the IED at the bridge in Mobile. Y'all, that is a huge story and it's terrifying. And apparently they just discovered it when they were doing like routine inspection, routine maintenance.
Yeah, it's a big story.
How long has it been there and who has the little clicker?
Yeah.
Like the little do.
And imagine if like they tried to blow it up and it just failed. And they were like, whatever, forget it. And it's just been there. But like, imagine that, like, that could have just been a missed terrorist attack.
What if they've already tried?
Yeah, what if they've already tried and it just didn't work and they were like, and they just left it there and
Can you
moved on.
time out? I'm just thinking, can you imagine being the divers and you're like, oh, we're going to go see if this screw's still in. And then you come up with like a bomb.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
They probably don't even know what it was at first. And they had to, it's scary.
What was the Castro thing? He shot down some planes.
Yeah, so this was from the 90s when he shot down some humanitarian planes. He's now on the verge of being indicted in the United States.
And it took us this long. Why?
Well, we're about to do regime change in Cuba, so it probably has something to do with that.
Okay. All right, I get that. You use what you have in your toolbox.
Mhm.
Are we ready to do regime change in Cuba? And is that because I thought we didn't want to do regime changes? Is that one we support in our hemisphere?
I guess. And if it can be done swiftly like Venezuela, But the John Ratcliffe, CIA director, was in Cuba yesterday. So
Do y'all like John Ratcliffe?
I don't know how I feel. He does not give me a good vibe at all.
Was it the smirk at the table that time?
You knew exactly that. Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Because I have people in my orbit that know him that really like him. But then I watch him on TV and I'm like, you seem a little shady.
Which maybe you have to be that sort of guy to be CIA director, maybe. But yeah, he doesn't give me a good vibe.
So speaking of CIA, what are we hearing about the files that were taken from Tulsi Gabbard's office where they actually not kidnapped? Was it actually a raid?
I don't
Or
know.
was it, hey, you weren't there, you were in the bathroom and we just swung by real quick while you were gone and grabbed the boxes?
The Trump administration claimed it happened last fall and it was not a raid. They came in and just took files that they, I guess, claimed that what Tulsi was planning on declassifying them. And I guess they were claiming that proper procedure wasn't done to, I don't know. But I have not heard anything about why, I think the clarification has been, well, it happened last fall. It wasn't really a raid. But, I haven't heard any clarification as to why they don't want those MK Ultra JFK files out.
Do we really have to ask?
I mean, I know the answer, but
I didn't realize that MK Ultra was kind of what they blame for a lot of the assassinations in the 60s, 70s, like with the LSD, the drug, the mind control.
Yeah.
Which I kind of joked about it with some of these assassination attempts with Trump and Charlie Kirk and all that. But maybe that's real.
Could be.
Okay. Do we have full context? Maybe you watched the whole thing on Trump with Sean Hannity in Beijing. And he said, we're helping Israel. We're helping Qatar. We're helping what is he referring to with the war?
Yeah.
Or what is he?
He was referring to the Strait. But the war is altogether. And we got about a minute or two before Bussy. But yeah, he was referring to, I think in that clip specifically, the Strait. That like, well, he was claiming we don't even need the Straits. We do a little bit, unfortunately. And he was claiming that we were really fighting to reopen it for Israel, for Qatar, for Saudi Arabia, all of our Middle Eastern allies. But then Hannity, said, but you're helping China too by doing that. And Trump's like, yeah, I told China today I was helping them by doing that. So that's what he was referring to, the Strait. Which we don't import any oil directly from Iran. That's true. But we do have enough of a percentage that travels through the Strait enough to make gas $4 today. I drove by and it was it was like $4.09. And he actually said in the interview with Hannity in a different part, he said that higher gas prices is the price Americans pay for Iran not to have a nuclear weapon. That was a direct quote. So,
are we willing to pay that?
It's almost like Iran wasn't going to have a nuclear weapon. So I'm not willing to pay higher gas prices for something that wasn't happening. But
we may never know. All right. So when we click a button, Amy Beth is going to magically appear. I'll be here too. I'll be in different, I can't remember what I was wearing that day.
You're wearing a white shirt.
Okay. I'll be in a white shirt. This is our Bussy brief for the week. It is actually really, really good. We cover several things out of the DCs. And then we take a break and then we will be back with Katherine Robertson here in studio at the top of the hour.
Shaver with Allison Sinclair, JP. And now it's that time of the week where we're thrilled to welcome the Caitlin Bussy for the Bussy Brief. Caitlin, how are things?
Things are well. How are y'all?
Are they? I mean, it's like, I feel like you live in an alternate universe up there. And so is that true? Like
things are really well.
DC? Yeah, we've got President Trump that's on a plane to China. That's kind of weird. Is anybody talking about that?
A little bit. I think like it's always good to keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer is like the way that I like to look at it. I mean, obviously China is not our friend. I think that it's great that he's going out there and talking to him. Who knows what in the world they're going to talk about. But I think it's also created a space then for people who are Republicans, like in DC, to talk about, okay, well, like we're protecting X, Y, and Z from China. Like we're going to keep manufacturing in America. We're going to keep, different things like that. Obviously that's not why he's going, but I think that, we have a president who's willing to have the hard conversations, and I'm glad that he's going. Yeah. And I'm excited to see what comes from it, honestly.
Yeah, and he's on a plane with a bunch of, I guess they've landed now, CEOs, and that's great. But I kind of go, this is weird messaging because, and this is something that you youngins were really paying attention to, like the TikTok thing. Like we got to get rid of TikTok because of China, and now we're going over to maybe bring manufacturing. And this is right after the California mayor was just outed as a Chinese spy. Yeah. So what are y'all, what's Gen Z thinking about China, TikTok? I mean, how do y'all feel about, not just from a political side, but just in general, what are the feelings towards China?
Personally, I don't think China's a threat to the United States 100%. I actually had a friend, this is like so long ago, but I thought it was really interesting. His job it's with National Geographic to go fix the species that have been classified wrong and to like correct the record basically and like fix that, whatever. It's so out of my realm. But he was telling me, he was like, when I was in China and got on my phone, my algorithm was completely different. It was very like family oriented, military oriented, math and science oriented. And then when you get back to America, it's like brain rot, none of that really, unless like you've kind of built your algorithm to be like that. So I think that the whole point of TikTok, I think, is what America is trying to get at is like the next war, like world war that we fight, I don't think will be with guns and things like that. It'll be nuclear weapons. It'll be with social media propaganda. I think we see that all the time, especially in our like day-to-day lives with politics. So I think that's kind of what they were getting at with TikTok is like, we can't have something that the Chinese has such a stronghold influence on infiltrating our kids and our next generation, if that makes sense. And I don't know if y'all ever watched, what was that Netflix documentary on social media called? It was like alarmingly scary. Social Dilemma, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
It's called. Yeah. And it's about how your algorithm is built and how these companies use every single thing that you like, how long you look at it, things like that, just to tailor that more and more into your algorithm, which like, if you're looking at political stuff, like I don't get anything on my algorithm that's like blue-haired freaks crying, unless it's like a video like making fun of them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But on the other side, on the other side, like their narrative is getting pushed and pushed more. Like they're truly believing like these things that are just not true. And like, granted, there's propaganda on both sides, but I think it's just very interesting that, everyone's all up in arms about like freedom of speech and like whatever with TikTok. And it's like, it has nothing to do with freedom of speech. It's the fact that there's a war being fought that you're not really aware of, you know what I mean, with social media and the propaganda and things like that. And I think that was probably more of the root behind it, if I had to guess.
Which actually is kind of a perfect place to land because there's another topic to cover. But you mentioned that if you're on social media and you're getting propagandized or you're getting information that's not true, there's a story out of Ohio with Max Miller, and I don't even know if anybody's following it. However, the story behind the story is what's important. It's how to look at a headline and how to figure out what's true. Can you talk to us about that? Because I think that's a really big deal right now that people constantly ask us, how do we know what's right? How do we know what's true? What do you think?
Well, I think what we've gotten away from a lot is the news reporting actual news, actual facts. I think there's obviously different news platforms that are skewed either way. I mean, you have Fox and then you have, Newsmax and OAN, and then you have MSNBC, CNN that just naturally lean a certain way. And so you have these headlines that are like MAGA congressman burns girl with boiling water. And then you have the headline that's like, he didn't do anything. And then you have the headlines that are him saying, this girl needs help. Then you have her saying, he beat me up. Like it's a classic he said, she said. And then, you have the news jumping in and doing their own spin on it. Who knows what happened? Obviously, none of us have been in those rooms. Only they know truly what has happened. And then when you bring lawyers into the mix, that's a whole nother headache. So who knows what's going on? But I think it is important to like look at your news, see where you're getting it from, look at the same story from two different outlets that have opposing viewpoints, pick out what is said in both of them that is similar. And then you can kind of then pick for yourself, like, okay, this is probably what actually happened. You know what I mean? Because I think nowadays there is so much fluff to get the clicks, to go viral, you know, whatever, that there's a lot lost in translation.
That's so good.
So, like in this instance, and there's so many things we could talk about, like Tony Gonzalez and his mistress that was pregnant that set herself on fire in the front yard and died. I mean, this is not a unique story for DC. So how does DC respond to things like this? Is it kind of like, I'm tired of the same old story. Like, okay, let's just kind of move on. Do they jump on one side or the other? Because his ex-wife is the daughter of Bernie Moreno, who's a senator from Ohio. So like, are lines drawn, or does everybody go, all right, we've been here. Let's interpret. We know these people, and kind of take a beat. What happens?
I'm going to be honest, at least in the circles that I'm in or have talked to about it, it's no one's talking about it. Like, it's none of our business, I think, is kind of the big overwhelming tone of like, these people are human. At the end of the day, something bad happened with their family, and it's a broken family, and they're using their political platform to either get attention for it on either side. And there's children involved. Like, I think it's just a really nasty way to use your platform. And I also think that it's, again, none of our business. Like, if anyone I know and love was in that situation, and then it was being further exploited on news channels and by, you know, my dad's a senator, hey, post this. So like, my point of view is out there. And then, hey, I'm a congressman. If I did something bad, like, I can use my voice to kind of then pivot and say like, hey, I didn't do this. Why are you like, stop? Let's just, I think everyone is kind of like, all right, whatever. Like, they're kind of having it out on their own terms. And then news medias, of course, are going to pick it up. But no one's really, at least who I've talked to, everyone's just kind of like, whatever. You know what I mean?
I guess I'm curious because, and this could apply to Montgomery or wherever, whatever level politics, political arena you want to look at. But like, let's take Eric Swalwell, who was obviously having affairs, and all that is well documented. There were receipts on that. Does that impact your ability to be a good congressman or woman? Like, at what point should we care? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't know the answer.
No, I get what you're saying. And what I think, the Eric Swalwell thing is so interesting. He is notoriously a bad actor, right? Like, no one has ever been like, he is such an upstanding guy. No one. So I think that, at least, especially from, you know, a Republican point of view, no one's going to be like, yeah, you should go find yourself alone with Eric Swalwell. Like, no. I think that that's probably a horrible thing, whatever. But I think that it does. Like, if you are going to come up to DC, once again, we kind of talked about this our first segment. It's your whole role up here is to represent the people back home that have elected you to be their congressman, period. If you get up here and you're like, going to all these parties, like, hey, I'm going to sleep with a spy, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that because I can, because I'm a congressman. It's like, why are you here? You know what I mean? Like, and I guess those people rely very heavily on their staffs to tell them how to vote, but I don't see how you can be involved in your job as a congressman and be doing all these things on the side, and still you can't be 100% in either way. You know what I mean? But the Eric Swalwell stuff is so interesting. I truly think his own party kind of shoved that stuff out against him to get him out of the picture. But he's just too messy, you know?
I worry about the blackmail kind of extortion side of it. You know, maybe you still vote the right way, but you know, in theory you could, even if your home life looks like this, but
yeah,
man, you are owned once those things are out. Just curious.
So true.
Totally.
So because it does make you wonder how many more of those stories are out there. We just don't know about them yet. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, you know, on the campaign side of things, you do oppo research. Like, you find out every little thing about these people before that's not even, it might not even ever be brought to light, but like, you know about it and you sit on it and you wait for a time to bring it up. It's just, it's very kind of swampy, which like sucks because it's the job, but it's just part of it nowadays, I guess, especially with social media and everyone's life being very well documented, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, quickly, pivoting to Alabama.
Yeah.
What are you hearing about redistricting? What are your thoughts?
You know, we've talked about this a lot. It has been such a hot topic. I'm honestly glad they drew the maps how they did. I think it's needed to be done to put them back how they were. What is sad to me and sucks is it's so confusing for voters. It really is. Like, there is still an election on May 19th for governor, for lieutenant governor, for every other office, right? That like people are like, are we having an election? Are we not? Is my vote going to count? Is it not? When am I voting? Who am I voting for? I remember back when I worked in Congress, like we were going to door knock for the Alabama 1 race when they had just redrawn the lines and 2 and 1 were put together and they were going up against each other. We were door knocking and people were like, I'm not in that district. I'm like, you are. And that's why we're here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people don't know unless you're just really in the know and in the loop with all of this. And it is confusing to the average American. So that part of it really does suck from just like because it is hurry. Like, your new election now is in August when you've been campaigning for the past, year or so for something else. But I think that it overall is a good thing and will be great for our state. But I hope that there's enough time and money to just, get back to, hey, we're running. This is your district now. We've got to let people know. And, I think that's also where the media comes in. Like, please report the truth, report accurate headlines. Like, your job is to inform people. So inform them, but hopefully
You're
it's
asking a lot, Caitlin.
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean? Like, you can't
going a little lower.
You can't my dad always has this saying, like, you can't fix stupid, and like people who aren't going to be informed, who don't want to be informed, aren't going to be informed. But I think that, it is just confusing, especially for like older people. I feel bad sometimes, you know what I mean? But yeah. I think it'll be a long-term really good thing for our state.
Okay, what is that noise? Do y'all hear that?
What noise?
It sounds like a fax machine.
Oh, do you hear that?
Yeah.
I hear that.
Or a heifer.
It's a heifer.
Hold on. Okay, I got to ask you because we got to go because you have like this job thing or whatever you have to do. Did you watch your dad on the show?
I did. I thought he did so well. He's such a natural, go figure. But like, he's literally the best. I could not ask for a better dad. We were texting about it right after he got off. But yeah, I thought he did wonderful.
We had so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
He loved y'all. He was like, I love how their show is not all politics. They're fun. They're real. They're goofy. He was like, they're going places, Caitlin. I was like, I know.
Oh,
that means a lot. And hopefully we gave him a little more confidence of like, when you went to him and he said, hey, I want to join these jokers. He's like, well, at least they're funny.
So yeah, they're funny. He's the best. He loved it. He was like, we're definitely going to be back. I want to have them to the lake. So we'll figure it out.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. I'm going to the mini mall or the mini mart.
Oh, yeah. That video of my mom. We have laughed so hard about that. Like, she is such a hoot. And I told y'all, I was like, she is the best kept secret of the Bussey family. The second she's on a hot mic, like, we're all done for. But we're
gonna make it happen.
Oh yeah.
And during that video, the Michael Jackson, I can't remember what song it was, but like, I thought maybe she would tone it down or slow it down, like she was just doing it for the camera for just a minute. No. She did not stop.
No.
That's her like high school cheer routine, and every time that song has come on. Like, she does it. Like, I've seen that dance multiple times. It's nothing new. Like, it is so funny.
But if it works, you stick with it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Betty Bussey, you are on notice. We got an extra chair
right here.
Yeah. Oh, and then what if we got your dad? And then what if we met Hunter? It was awesome.
It was so fun. Oh my gosh, we're the Bussey family biggest fans. That's what we are.
Funny.
Huge. Caitlin, have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us for the 3rd edition of the Bussey Brief.
Of course. Thank y'all.
Have a good day. Okay. Before we dig into Alabama numbers and kind of what you're finding here, give us an overview because you travel the country.
Yes.
You meet with lots of different groups in different states. Nationally, what are you seeing? Are we trending in the right direction? Are we making headway on a national scale? And then let's drill down and talk about what's going on in Alabama.
I think the first principle people need to understand is that there isn't one legislature in this country that wants election reform. There isn't one. Every single one is going the opposite direction. And so, like, for example, when I'm in Oregon, everybody says, oh, it's those evil Democrats. But here I am in Alabama, and you guys are like super red. And yet your legislature is trying to pass laws to make it even harder to audit your elections. What's going on here? And you would think that in the reddest legislatures or reddest states, they would want to fix their elections. But you have a bill right now before your legislature trying to make it even harder for people to have access to your voter rolls. And you're already the second least transparent state in the country in terms of your elections. So it's like that's an eye-opener to people. Everybody wants to think that, oh, sure, certainly our legislature, this is a red state, so certainly they'll want to fix it. And no, it doesn't work that way. That's a big mind change for people to recognize that.
Are you speaking about the bill to reduce fees?
Yes.
Okay, how does that make it more difficult?
So the bill was, as it was originally proposed, was going to take information out. So they were saying, we're going to make it cheaper, but we're going to give you, it took out the critical information. And you're already not giving the, for example, I've been working with your teams here. I just came from Mobile and I came from Ottawa, and they're complaining, Dr. Frank, this is really hard. And it is, because in other states, they give you tons more information than you get here. And you have to pay for it. And it's limited already, and they wanted to limit it even more. It should be exactly the opposite. If you go to Ohio, for example, or go on their Ohio website, Secretary of State website, just click. You can download it for free. Go to Florida, click, download it for free. Way more information for free. But in your state, you have to pay exorbitant fees for less information, and they wanted to make that even less information.
So is it because it's back to what you said at the beginning? You've presented the evidence, they ignore it, it's centralized, it's layered. I mean, is it all of those things, or is there something that's specific to Alabama in addition to, we see that they're not transparent, we've experienced that.
Yeah.
Like, what else are we missing?
I think the main thing we're missing is that people have become conditioned into waiting for somebody else to fix the problems. You're too young, you don't remember, you ladies, but when I was a boy, we ran our own elections. The PTA moms walked the precincts, and the parties, the Republican and Democrat representative in every precinct, took the precinct book. And every 2 years, every door was knocked on, making sure that the books and the precincts were up to date. Since about 2002, we've just steadily lost our role as citizens. Now we wait for other people to fix our problems rather than us. We wait for other people to teach our children. We wait for other people to run our elections. We wait for other people to run our government. But America's an experiment in self-government. It's supposed to be us doing these things. How's it working out when we're letting other people teach our kids? How's it working out when we're letting other people run our government? Plato said the penalty for refusing to get involved in politics is you end up being governed by your inferiors. And here we are. You pick a random person off the street, they'd probably be better governor than the one you got. Okay. I mean, it's a bad situation.
Right.
So really, I think that's the fundamental problem, is that we the people, and this is a good thing for Alabama, but we the people have forgotten that it's our country, that we're supposed to be doing stuff. Now, in your state, you are full of people who have really good, solid values. That is refreshing when I'm here in Alabama. But because of that, you're more trusting. And because of that, when I walk into a county and say, hey, your elections are all corrupted, they look at me like, no, our clerk is great. We love her. We go to church with her. Our kids go to school together. It's like
That couldn't possibly happen.
Couldn't possibly happen here because we're great people, right? I mean, and I get that. But what they don't understand is the problem isn't your people. The problem is that they are subservient to a system that's being imposed on you. So, for example, if you were to let's say you move into a county here. We're in Shelby, I think, right now. Let's say you walk into, I know the country by counties. Let's say you walk into a county and you say, hey, I want to get on the voter rolls. I want to register. The clerk doesn't bring out the precinct book and add you to the rolls. She logs into the state central system and adds you to the rolls. Oh, want to delete somebody from the rolls? She doesn't delete you. She logs into the state central system and deletes you from the system. She's not in control of that system. And guess where that file is? Omaha, Nebraska. Okay, so you're not your rolls are not even here, and your clerk is not even here. It's not like she has a copy of the rolls. And so one of the things that I show in my talks, and by the way, I'm speaking tonight in Tuscaloosa, I think it is. Yeah. And I'll show a lot of this information, is if you were to take a copy of your voter rolls today, and then a week from now take another copy of your voter rolls and compare the two, there'd be a whole bunch of names that were added and removed that your clerk didn't add and remove. Well, who did that? The state does that, and your clerk doesn't even know, though, because the numbers are similar, and so it looks to the clerk like this, just kind of going along, and she's adding and removing a few over time, but she doesn't realize that it's actually going like this. And I have the copies of the rolls, so I can show them the snapshots over time, and they're like, "What?" And so they don't know that's happening, and so I show that.
So, the state. Welcome to the Right Side. I'm Allison Sinclair with JP, and this is not Amy Beth. It's kind of the hot blonde version of Amy Beth,
Right.
Katherine Robertson. Let me first apologize. Y'all missed this. So when we have friends to the treehouse, we always like to have drinks and snacks available, and so I made Katherine a nice warm cup of coffee and some milk that was chunky. So I apologize.
You can make it up to me.
I had to redo it.
Redo.
But she's going to make it through. So my word, we were talking this morning, opening the show, about how crazy, and every election cycle has its crazy, but this one has been insane. How are you doing?
I'm great. Let's talk
you
about
really
it.
mean that? You don't seem
No.
like one that would I feel like you'd give an honest answer.
Listen, I've been in this business for 10 years. I do not have any feelings anymore. They are officially all gone. And so I'm great. Things are looking good. Positive momentum out there. Is the visits out with the normal people that give you great feedback and tell you they're voting for you. That keeps you going. Now, I will say it's my daughter's last day of preschool, so I have had some feelings on that. But elections, not worried about it.
This is your oldest child's last.
My youngest child.
Your youngest child's last day. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Of preschool. So
that's welcome. I mean, you're basically empty nesting.
She's basically going to college.
It's what it feels like, those milestones. And then when you're actually empty nesting like me, well, I have one, but she's gone all the time. It's just enjoy it. I know the days are really long, but so you actually are hanging in there, and you received a huge endorsement last night. Or
Yeah,
did you know
yesterday
was that
afternoon.
yesterday afternoon?
Yeah.
From Club for Growth. I think they don't normally endorse in attorney general's races.
That's
So what does that mean?
Well, it's good. It's good. It's a good
Yeah.
thing. Club for Growth is one of the biggest conservative advocacy groups in the country, maybe the biggest. And they're a group I've had a relationship with for a long time. They've got their focus on lots of races around the country. So the fact that they looked way down the ballot to my race and decided to jump in is huge for me. I mean, I think one of the biggest things I bring to the table is not just my relationships inside the state, but my relationships nationally. And I've talked about this before. Like, I am not okay with Alabama just sort of like being around. I want us to really be leading in these national conversations. And so their endorsement, I think, speaks to, what I've been able to accomplish in the network that I've built. And, obviously super humbled to have their support.
So Club for Growth, I think they're also backing, Barry Moore, congressman, and who has an extremely conservative record in Congress. And so I think that says a lot for you. But there's lots of talk about like the Republican Attorney General's Association and some national support that you've had, and people criticizing that. And I understand. I mean, I get the sentiment of like, we want Alabamians to be deciding who represents Alabamians.
Yeah.
But I am always kind of bewildered by that's an attack in some ways, because that who has seen you work the past few years. And I think when you are in politics, whether you're in the Attorney General's office or whatever it is, you make connections outside of the state. If you're doing a good job, you have a coalition that you work with. So why is it bad, whether it's RAGA or anywhere else? Like, why do people think that's bad? And then you look at donations that maybe come in from somebody that that happened to move to California from Alabama, and it's like, oh my God, money's coming in from California. I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you know anything about the attorney general world, the most effective relationships we have are with the other Republican attorneys general. And so, I mean, their endorsement of me back in September was huge. I mean, I was probably DOA without them because I'm just a staffer. I had $0, never run a campaign before, and they threw their weight behind me. And as far as strategic partnerships go, that's critical. But at the same time, I mean, look, I've gotten the support of Alpha, the farmers, the foresters, the builders and contractors, 25 sheriffs. I mean, Coastal 150, like, come on. It's not like all my support's from outside the state. So financial support is huge in a race like this, but so is getting out the vote. And so all those endorsements together, I think, have led to a pretty successful effort.
I would say the attorney general. Yeah, it's the attorney general's race, right? It's not the attorneys general.
Right.
Because you're not attorney general. Okay.
You got it.
Y'all are so confusing with that.
It's very confusing.
Okay. So the attorney general's race has become one of the hottest and weirdest ones in Alabama, the lieutenant governor's race. And I would do probably the U.S. Senate race up there as well.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned this is the first campaign that you've run, the first time candidate. What have you learned? And what has surprised you?
Oh, man. Look, I think that there are people that I have helped along the way that I've been in the foxhole with that have stayed on the sidelines, and that surprises you. I mean, you sort of think like the people I've been with are going to be with me. And I think a lot of people get really nervous about picking a side in a Republican primary. At the same time, you meet friends along the way that haven't known you, haven't even seen your body of work, that you just click with, and they become some of your biggest supporters. And so I think, you could focus on the negative or you can focus on the positive. But I mean, I'm an 8th generation Alabamian. My family's been here for 208 years. This is the most time I've ever spent in certain parts of our state that are not, normally my stomping grounds. And just the kindness that people have shown me, especially when the negative stuff started. People have really stuck with me, and I would say all in all, it's been a very positive experience. There have been things that have surprised me in a negative way, but I'd say I've been more pleasantly surprised by the positive.
How do you keep it? How do you keep it when you see? Because I have heard from several candidates that you think somebody's your friend and then they're not. And running for office kind of exposes that. As being attorney general, it's important that you are impartial. How do you separate like those feelings of wait, you weren't there for me, but you can't act on that? Is that hard? Or do you kind of understand it? Because some people are constrained with whether it's their job or different, maybe different things that hold them back from getting really involved. But
yeah, I mean, look, I think the AG job is easy through that lens because the law gives you the answer, right? I mean, the law is, you're going to apply it the same, whether people were with you, against you, what have you, nobody's above it. And so for me, I mean, over the last 10 years, look, we've had our share of praise and criticism and surprises and all that. And I think the thing that's always just kept me very in the black and white is just that our job's to enforce the law. And usually the answer there is very clear. But I will certainly always remember who was with me early. I mean, you're always going to remember those people that took a chance on you when you were polling at 0%. That doesn't mean it'll change the way I do my job.
Right.
But relationally, that will always matter a lot to me. The farmers, for sure, being with me early. I 8th generation farming family, that'll always mean a lot to me.
Forget that about you.
Yeah.
That you're right. So I've asked every candidate that's been on in the past 2 weeks or so, is what you're hearing from voters now different? Like after being out in the field and across the state, does it has anything changed in terms of what you want to accomplish or what you think your top priorities will be?
I think that's a really good question. And I've thought about it a lot. Like what is going to be different about the way I do my job now that I've been out? And the thing that I think I've taken away the most is that people have no clue what the attorney general does.
They really don't.
They don't.
Like
And-
lieutenant governor, I get. That's just weird. Like, okay,
Right.
if the governor dies, you take over.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't know.
Right.
But attorney general, they really.
I mean, I think they can name, and I'm talking about your average voter, not
Right.
your really plugged in. I mean, if you go to a GOP club, they're more, they're paying more attention. But I think I just want to do a better job communicating with the people of Alabama, like from the office. Like, here's what we do. Here's why we're here. Here's how we can help. Here are the things that we don't weigh in on. I've said it several times on the campaign trail, but I'm like, I really don't think we've appreciated the good AGs that we've had, but we're going to really hate it if we have a bad one, because that's when we're going to notice. And so it has really made me think a lot about how to just push that message out, because I think it would give people more confidence in their government if they knew a little bit more about the ways that we were fighting for them. And to the degree that we haven't done that well, I want to change that.
I think you're probably right. I started thinking about my friend who I had dinner with last night. Very conservative, been in Alabama all her life. But if I asked her who Steve Marshall was, she'd probably get, I mean, did his kids go to Oak Mountain? And then we might get into attorney general, like, yeah, they do attorneying.
Yeah.
But I think what the office that you are running for is so important, especially since I think really since COVID with states' rights and all this crazy town liberal junk that has come our way. All the Title IX stuff, which you were so gracious to come speak at several of our town halls about Title IX and keeping that out of our state. And that all lands in the Attorney General's office and is so important.
It's probably the most philosophical role that we vote for, because you have to have like an enormous amount of depth in conservative principles, conservative values, philosophy, and then in sort of the conservative legal view of things. And so I'm at such an advantage in that. I mean, I've been part of the conservative legal movement for 20 years. My brain knows how to think about these things. It makes the job easier. But you've got to have a perspective of like where you're heading. I mean, because you walk into the AG's office on a Monday morning and you're going to inherit a long list of things that was not in your plan for the week. But you also can't lose the big picture view of what you want to accomplish. And for me, it's always been two things. Like, number one, I want us to have one of the strongest criminal justice systems in the country. And I think we're getting there. But number two, I want our state to be more protected against federal overreach than any other state. And that's such an incremental thing. You take little bites out of it at a time, but like, you got to have this overarching point of like what you're doing there. And I've always just had a real clear vision for that.
One of the things that's been in the news, and I followed in the beginning, but I haven't really followed up. Lately, it's been back in the news, is your office, the Attorney General's office, and the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and that whole mess. Take us back just a little bit, fill us in on how we got here, and update us on what's going on.
Yeah, so the SPLC was founded in Alabama, is headquartered in Montgomery, Alabama, right out of my office window. I look.
Can you literally see it?
Literally see it. And they have just really been a nemesis of anything conservative we do in our state. They constantly sue us over criminal justice issues, wanting to make our system more lenient, more liberal. They were involved in suing the state over the law to prohibit transgender medicine from being practiced on minors. They are involved in the redistricting litigation. Anytime there's an opportunity for the left to kind of come in against the state, SPLC is kind of the poster child for that. They are a multi-million-dollar organization. And they've always, I mean, not always, but in the time at least I've been in the AG's office, it clearly became just a moneymaker, a massive moneymaker. And, they've had these hate group lists for years that basically is just a bunch of conservative people.
Pretty sure I was on it at some point.
You wish. But anyway.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah. It is. But occasionally people look at those lists and shoot people. So you don't
try and stay off the list.
Yeah, I'd stay off of it. But anyway, they are kind of the poster child for just like raising money on race baiting, fear mongering, all that kind of stuff. And I've just really had an issue with them for a long time. So there have been efforts by our office over the years to kind of figure out what's going on there. We don't have quite the same tools as the federal government, as you know. And so a week or two ago, FBI makes a case against them. DOJ indicts the organization over wire fraud and other deceptive practices, which gave us a little ammo to do the same thing. So we sent out subpoenas last week under our Deceptive Trade Practices Act, which is essentially saying, look, if you're raising money off of fake problems that you're paying to create, that's deception and it's fraud under state law as well. And so we're going for it.
What happens from here? Like, do they have, okay,
they have a deadline to produce the documents that we asked for, and we're off to the races.
Okay.
Good times.
That's actually, well, and okay, so let's just assume that the documents they produce confirm, because it sounds like the federal DOJ knows what they're doing as well. Like, then what happens?
Well, I mean, this is a civil investigation. Civil investigations that go well end in severe penalties for the violators. So,
like, will this put them out of business?
That'd be great.
I saw that right after they the charges came down from the DOJ that they were still hiring for someone, and I'm like,
I recommended Joyce Vance for that job. She had a lot to say about redistricting, and I wanted to make sure she knew that they had an opening. I think she'd be perfect.
Joyce, go for it.
Joyce should go for it. I think she'd be a shoe-in. But yeah, I mean, look, you've got Alabama's got subpoenas out, Florida's got subpoenas out, the FBI, DOJ are still working their cases. They've got trouble, and if you raise money under false pretenses in a way that's criminal or violative of a civil statute, you have to give that money back. And so, we'll see what happens, but they need to be, they need to not raise money anymore and need to go back to what they were there for or go away, one or the other.
We have a few minutes left. I know you have to get to preschool graduation. I'm curious, on Tuesday. Woo. Big day. And
do you have plans on Tuesday?
Actually, we are going quilling. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay. You should come by. Quilling is
I might be busy on Tuesday, but
you just stop by. It's real casual. No, back in Britain, they used to we decided we need to make election day fun again. Like, everybody goes and tailgates for all these football games, but like, this is the best day ever, right? As an American.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, we're going to go tailgate. Well, Amy Beth, who's refined and together, said, well, they used to quill in England and they would all meet for like drinks and then go vote. And so we're going to go quill.
We're not going to drink.
Actually at the church, which is funny, but we're going to do a live show from a polling precinct.
I love it.
And maybe do our own exit poll and just try and make it fun again. I'm wearing my sequin American flag hat.
You should probably wear your Katherine Robertson for Attorney General hat.
I think that might be illegal.
A little unethical.
Nah.
It's a little unethical. But what Tuesday, I'm guessing Wednesday, you'll go water skiing?
Oh, yeah.
With one foot?
Probably so.
Are you just going to dip town? What are you anticipating?
I really don't know. I don't know what to think.
Is that going to be weird?
It's going to be weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do on Wednesday. But
it's like
I'll be thankful that it'll be Wednesday. Yeah, I'll be very thankful. You know what I'll probably do is probably catch up on work that I missed on Tuesday. I mean, it's not like it's not like I'm totally off the hook.
You do still have a job.
I mean, we're going to still be probably in the throes of redistricting stuff, like, next
Oh my gosh.
week. So,
okay. How did I not even think to ask you about redistricting? Do you have any thoughts on
wild
that?
time. Lots of thoughts on redistricting.
Can you say them or is that illegal?
Well, I mean, I can give you an update. So, there's two things hanging in the balance here. There's the legislative map that will give Montgomery their Republican Senate seat back. And then there's the congressional map, which, who knows what's going to happen with that. We are hoping to hear something by the end of the day today, ideally on the legislative map. And then there are due dates in the congressional map case tomorrow.
Who are you going to hear from today?
Federal Judge Manasco on the legislative case, and then the 3-judge panel in the congressional case. So a lot is still hanging in the balance. A lot is still fluid, and we are fighting our little hearts out over there.
Could we go 7-0?
Yeah, I think you could.
Mic drop. I don't know if you're listening. We could do it. We're going to take a break. thank you for being here. Where can people find out about you and your campaign?
KatherineForAG.com. Find me on socials. Lots of fun posts coming over the next couple of days, and disregard the black circles under my eyes. Thank you.
I'll bring you chunky coffee.
Ugh. Y'all need to up that for next time. Your quill day needs some good coffee and some creamer.
I'll go buy some new creamer. Y'all will be back. But what is making the state remove them without going through the registrars?
Good question. So it used to be Eric. I think recently you've separated from Eric, but you now have Avid. Yeah. And it's basically the same thing. I could show you in your own data. You're doing the same thing as you always did. You just changed the name for political reasons.
But isn't that what you want? You want to be checking against other states' records and removing accordingly?
So it sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds like, wouldn't it be great? Except that what's happened is, and I can show you, and we should put this graph when we get to that point. I can show you your own rolls over time, and I can show you that what happened is, in this graph, this is from 1980 to 2024. You had 3 million people of voting age in 1980, and it just kind of steadily climbed in your state, and now you're up to around 4 million people of voting age. See that? That's your voting age people. Here are the number of people in your rolls every 2 years, according to your Secretary of State. And a clean voter rolls should be about 70% of your voting age population. So I would say you were really clean from about 1992 up to about 2012. But then look what happened. Then your voter rolls took off. How come? Well, that's when your state started automatically adding people who get driver's license, who get a car registration, who touch any government agency, who go to jail, who get welfare. They're automatically adding people, and they're not cleaning in a commensurate fashion, so the rolls are getting dirtier. I can talk about the turnouts, but let's not do that yet. I just want you to see that the voter rolls are growing faster than your population, dramatically faster. In fact, you got about 40% too many people in your voter rolls. So what'll happen is I'll show this to people, and they're like, what? How could we have so many names in the rolls that shouldn't be there? So what then I do is I give them a copy of their own voter rolls. They start going through them, and I always tell people, look in your own neighborhood. So we look up, it's like I'll be standing in front of a group, and I'll say, give me an address. Give me an address. And we look you up, and they'll say, wait a minute, that's my next door neighbor. Their boy hasn't lived here for 10 years. How come he's still an active voter in the rolls? In other words, the rolls are really dirty. And when I show them to them themselves, they're shocked. They don't realize how dirty it is. Now, in states like Oregon or Washington or Colorado or California, where they mail a ballot to every person, that's immediately a problem because you're mailing huge amounts of ballots out to people who aren't there. It's ridiculous. Like I was just in a county in Colorado where they got back a fourth of the ballots undeliverable. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, you have equally dirty rolls, but since most of your voting here takes place in perp, and by the way, that's a kudos to Alabama. About 98% of you on average vote on election day in person. That's big. Step across the border into the panhandle. Say in Florida, 30% of their ballots are coming in by mail. They're lazy. Okay?
Yeah.
You guys show up on election day, and that's a big advantage. So to cheat here, you don't, stuffing ballots is not as easy because people are voting in person.
Right.
So here, the way they cheat is they bus people in, and then they can also mess with the tallies afterwards. So that's an example, for example, of how the clerks are so busy doing their election tasks that they don't realize what's happening in their roles.
Can
So,
I ask you one
yeah,
question?
sure, go ahead.
It looks like you're about to.
Oh,
hit
I'm
another
sorry, I can go
slide.
back to that if you want.
Well, no, is that 42% more registered voters than the population increase? You know, statistically, they should be about even.
Yeah, they should.
You know,
track
or
each
should
other.
they?
Yeah,
they
if the
should-
population
it's-
goes up, the
right.
rolls should track.
Right. Is that fraud or is that laziness?
That is deliberate. So, what do I mean
Okay.
by deliberate? So, what's supposed to happen? There are two federal laws. One is NVRA, National Voter Registration Act, 1993, and another one, HAVA, Help America Vote Act, 2002. Both of those were grants from the federal government to the states. And the first one was more about the rolls. And the federal government said, we're going to give you money to maintain your rolls in a particular way. And all the states said, oh, great, we'll take it. What state doesn't take money? But they didn't comply with the other side, which is how to maintain the rolls. And I'll give you an example. Say, for example, that you miss 2 federal elections. They're supposed to mail you a postcard and see if you're still there. And if you're not there, they're supposed to make you inactive in the rolls. And then if you miss another one, they're supposed to take you out. Well, I can show you thousands and thousands of examples in your own county where we've tracked everybody in the rolls, and they've missed multiple elections, and they've been active for a long time, yet they're still in the rolls. And when we look them up using the post office records, guess what we find? They've moved to Texas 10 years ago. How come they're still in the rolls? They shouldn't be there. So your state isn't cleaning up. And when you complain about it, they say, well, that's because, we've got this system in place. They have a deliberate system in place that keeps your rolls dirty. It's by choice.
Okay. And is that to, so in theory, so they have wiggle room if they need to?
Well said. Wiggle room. I'm going to steal that one.
Yeah.
I call it a credit line.
Okay. Same thing.
But wiggle room is a good one.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So uncomfortable to confront people over the wiggle room that we're not supposed to see.
Yes. And the clerks don't even know it's there. That's the thing. I meet clerks all the time, and they think they're in control because they're the one adding and moving people from the rolls. But then when I show them the actual list, since I have multiple snapshots, I can compare, and I can show who was added, and I can show who was removed. And they're like, what? They don't even realize the extent to this is happening. So that's really the core problem that we have right now, is that we've given away control of our elections to other people. And what did Stalin say? Stalin said, it's enough that the people know there was an election. It doesn't matter who casts the votes. What matters is who counts the votes. And we haven't been counting our votes for over 20 years. And that's your problem. Your own clerk doesn't even count the votes. She takes a stick out of the machine and plugs it into another computer, and the numbers go up someplace else. One of my favorite things is I'll sit with the clerk, kind of red pill them, open their eyes to what's going on. And I'll say, what do you do? Tell me about your elections. And they're all very proud. They work so hard, and they have checklists they go through. Oh, yeah, we do this and this and this and this. And at the end of the day, what do you do? Well, we plug the stick in, we upload the numbers of the state, and then we rush home so we can watch the election. We want to see how the election is going, right? I understand. I would do the same thing. And then I say to them, well, what do you ever go in and look at the final numbers that the Secretary of State reports for your county? Well, no. Why would I do that? I'm the one who reported it. So I bring out my computer. Yep. I log into the Secretary of State website. We look at the numbers, and
Welcome back to the Right Side. That's fun. Katherine is like in the throes of motherhood, and it's just I remember preschool graduation, the last one.
I remember my preschool graduation.
Do you really?
You want to know why I remember it?
Did you fall in front of everybody?
No. We did the funniest thing. We had my teachers got all of us like little balloon guitars, like fake balloon, like blow up guitars.
Okay.
And so we started the graduation, and we were singing, like we were all on the stage of this church, and everybody's in the audience, and we were singing like this like nice song. And then we all had like these balloon guitars behind us, and then they turned on what's the song of I'm
like
gonna
AC/DC or something?
No. I like an old town rock and roll.
Oh, no way.
And we all and they played it on the speakers, and we turned around and grabbed the guitars, and we all and I remember
that's so cute.
Looking in the audience, and my brothers were like, tears were coming out of their eyes laughing.
That
was my preschool graduation.
is actually really cute. Aw.
It was awesome.
Little JP. I am looking up because I know we need to cover Tommy Tuberville's story from yesterday.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about, and I don't know why I didn't think to ask Katherine more about redistricting. But Tennessee seems to be doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
And the Speaker of the House has removed every single Democrat from their committee positions. I mean, even I'm for it.
Yeah.
I really am. But then I go, dang, that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Is that the right move? Because whether you're black or white or brown or yellow, I don't know what all the colors are. You're a furry, you're straight, I don't care. There are rules that you
Yeah.
have to follow. There's decorum. There
Punishments when you
are consequences. Do you think we will see any of that in Alabama? Because, oh, wait, you laughed way too quickly.
go ahead.
I mean, keep going.
Nah,
You just think there's no way?
No. Well, first of all, the Tennessee legislature had a much, much, much more intense protest and outrage from representatives themselves, the Democrats, than Alabama did. And yet they still went from 8-1 to 9-0. But it was like some of them were trying to start fires. There was the one dude in the montage who was verbally assaulting a cop, calling him boy and all that. So they had like their representatives, their Democrats really acted a fool. Alabama really had, the main one was Wanda Lingavan, who went up in the gallery with the protesters. And I think she should have some sort of, like, you can't just do that. But no, I don't think Wanda Lynn will face any sort of repercussion. I don't think any of the Democrats, I mean, I still think so. Well, and then again, like I said, there's the other half of it of like the Tennessee Democrats did a lot more than the Alabama Democrats did, but like Wanda Lingavan leaving the floor and going up and acting a fool like she did, like she needs to have some, I don't know if it's she's off of her committees or whatever, but she needs to have some sort of, like, you can't just do that.
And maybe Speaker Ledbetter is handling it. I don't know if we need to like air everything, but
Yeah.
I would think it all goes back to parenting. It's like, if you allow the kids to run the house, they're going to always run the house. And every time you let the kids run the house, you lose a little more power. So you can't let the kids run the house. And right now, and maybe things, like I said, are happening behind the scenes and they have plans, but like, why is the speaker and why are leadership not saying something more about it? Like, not only does it make you look a little weak, but it just doesn't send the right message, because people don't change, whether they're toddlers or grownups. They do not change without consequences.
Yeah. I think there's two sides to the coin. I think some of them, they're just like, so I don't know if it's used to it or they're just so like, what are you going to do? You know, I think they have a lot of that attitude of let them hoot and holler, let them do whatever. But then there's the other side of it of, they're giving them too much refuge. Like, it'd be one thing if they were doing all of that and the representatives were like, pfft, and then they passed a 7-0, but they're like, okay, you know what, guys, we're giving you a 6-1, just chill. Like, I feel like that's the reaction. And where it's not like Tennessee, where they're like, we're going from 8-1 to 9-0, and anybody who does this nonsense and crap, you're going to get punished, and we're going to ram through a 9-0. Like, that is, whereas we're just like, we'll do a 6-1. It's almost, it's theater. That's they're like, yeah, their part of the script is to lose their mind. Our part of the script is to do a little, but then not do too much, because then they'll lose even more. This is just the script. It's like, it's WWE. It's like, it's like their role is to be that. Our role is to do this, and we move on. Whereas in Tennessee, they're like, no.
And parenting is exhausting. Like, and you do at some point, you're like, and you will reap the consequences of it, but you're like, oh, I just don't have the energy. I can see down in Montgomery, they're like, we just went through this whole special session. We just got out of a really tough session, which was supposed to be boring, but I think they unnecessarily made it harder on themselves. So I get it. Some of the things I don't understand. One being, Sawyer Knowles, Yellowhammer, wrote an article yesterday of Tommy Tuberville saying 100% Alabama will pursue a 7-0 map under his governorship. Sounds great.
Does.
Sounds really great.
Headline does.
But you go on down and it says, Tuberville said he met with House leadership in Montgomery to discuss pushing the redistricting map to a full 7 Republican districts. The votes were there. The process was not. A 7-0 map would have required public hearings that had never been held, and forcing the issue risked blowing up the plan that was vetted and ready to go. If we tried that, we would have lost a 6-1 map. And I hear that a lot. I really do. I mean, and I don't understand the entire process. Montgomery has been saying that personally to me and to a lot of other people that we could have drawn a 7-0 map, but it still has to go through the public hearing process, and then it has to go to the 3-judge panel, and then it has to go through this whole. And so 6-1 is better than 7-0. And it's better than 5-2. And so we're going to shoot for 1 because we already have this map. And I get it. It sounds reasonable. And we've said this a million times this week, but that 6-1 map was still drawn under now unconstitutional terms. And why wouldn't you just have a 7-0 map? I saw lots of them going around, just go ahead and take it through the legislative process.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can go through the public hearing and the 3-judge panel, and at least public facing to your constituents, you can say, we tried. Look, we tried. We had everything ready to go. We tried to get it pushed, and it still had to go through this process, but we couldn't do it before 2026 for this election, but we tried. And that's what just has me flabbergasted. So many incumbents are up against formidable opponents. Garland Gudger, there's a chance he might lose from what I'm hearing. There's a chance that he might not win by that much. And I don't understand why some of these people in Montgomery didn't harness this opportunity to really be a champion. Again, even if it would, because the general public is what we were talking about, keeps up with like very superficial parts of this. Now we're in it deep, but they keep up with very superficial headlines. So for like a Garland, you get a headline out there that you are supporting a 7-0 and you are going to do everything you can to, have a map ready to go if by chance. I don't know what polling percentage points you would go up, but that's really what the public wants. Everybody, and not just in politics, but in general, everybody wants a hero. Everybody wants somebody that will do the hard thing and fight for them. And we aren't in Montgomery. We can tell you what we want, but in the end, the people that ran and decided that they wanted to be there and put a lot of money and time to represent us, y'all have to be the ones that do it. And it's very frustrating to be on this side. Now, devil's advocate to myself, I'm not in the back rooms. I don't understand, admittedly, all that goes into some of these decisions. All I know is what I see from the outside. All I know is what I hear from like normal Alabamians, and what we try and do on the show, what I try and do even offline with some of these legislators, and go, just listen to us. Please, just listen to us. Just do this for us. And there's still resistance there. And I don't understand that part. And I'm a little confused. Tommy Tuberville is so close with President Trump. I mean, they are golfing buddies. They are big buddies, and has always been so loyal to President Trump. But I'm like, why Alabama and a few other states' seats could be the difference between President Trump being impeached. They're going to impeach him the second they get back in power. And so why are we not fighting for the man that has given up so much for this country, taken bullets? And we don't, from what I'm hearing, we don't want to upset the Democrats a little more.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll be honest, the spill I heard from Tuberville in that quote, and to be fair, I think this is because he's still a senator, and he's, so there's a lot of delegation or a lot of lean on what he's being told from, Montgomery.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think that was just a lot of, I don't want to, not from Tuberville himself. Cause he said, I'll do it when I'm governor, but I think that was a lot of, I'm being told this, and the people who are telling them this, they don't want to, because it would be one thing of like, guys, we would love to, but we just can't. And that was kind of the argument when the injunction was still in place of like, we just can't. And then when the injunction came up, they're like, well, guys, we'd have to do this. and then we have to do this, and then we'd have to do this. It's like, you can't just take a 6-1. Yeah, that's what I hear. But this is the cynical side of me. They're saying that as if like, God, we'd love to, but it's just like, oh. But I think they don't want to do it. Like they are against a 6 or a 7-0. And that's where you kind of go down the more cynical route of like, are you guys really conservatives? Are you really Republicans? Are you really like, what are you fighting for? What even are you? You know? And I think that's unfortunately the spot I kind of land. But the argument of like, we'd have to have hearings and then we'd have to do this and we have to jump through this ladder. And we had a session and then we came back for another special session and then we'd have to come back for another special session. So I want to play golf, you know, like that's what I hear. It's like, well, then clearly this doesn't, because if it was as important enough to you as it is to us and as it should be, if you claim to be a conservative and a Republican, this is a hill you die on and this is a battle you go to the very end to fight and win. They don't want to. So, and here's the thing too. Okay, you take it to another 3-judge panel with a 7-0, they knock it down. The highest court in the nation just said you cannot draw based off race. You lose that, you got SCOTUS on your side. Supreme Court bent over backwards to grant Steve Marshall's motion to remove this injunction and bring it back. Like they are on your side, obviously. But yet, I don't know if it's they don't get that and they're not dumb. So I think it's they don't want to. And they're using the reasoning of 6-1's better than 5-2, blah, 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 to as a mask, where I think if you peel back the mask, it's you're not who you say you are. And that's where, unfortunately, I land. But in terms of Tuberville, I'd love it. If Tuberville comes in and he says he wants to do a 7-0 when he's governor, great. And like, I'm not even bashing Tuberville because like I said, he's a senator and I'm bashing the people who are telling Tuberville this, who know better. And they're taking advantage of Tuberville, you know, being in DC, not, you know.
Montgomery's hard to keep up with. And Montgomery, I think, is going to be, Coach is going to have it's going to be an adjustment. I don't think he knows exactly what he's walking into. I just hope he surrounds himself by people that do and that will steer him in the right direction. He's had a few missteps, like with the PSC bill and coming out in support of that. What else was it? Maybe this redistricting as well. I mean, because he came out
GOP chair.
Yeah, he came out so strong for 7-0 and then kind of settled. And so if you aren't surrounding yourself with the right people that know Montgomery, it's going to be a lot harder for him coming in. I don't know what happened to the laptop.
I got you real quick.
Yeah, because I need to see the clowns of the world. The clowns of the world. They are numerous. Sorry, I just got a text. This is really funny. What was the other thing that we needed to talk about? I think that was it. The fraud files, thanks.
Hospice,
look at that.
Billions. Yeah.
Yeah, that was in the montage. I mean, so
they pretty much, I think it was $8 billion or maybe more, that because Trump has deemed Vance the fraud czar. So they shut down a bunch of hospices in California that were fraudulent, and stopped federal funding.
I think there were like 62 hospice care organizations out of one office.
That's insane.
All right,
we're going to Clown World.
The world of clowns.
This is a pretty good clown world, I have to say. So buckle up.
Hello. Hi. I'm Morgana. I am a drag queen. I am an activist. I am a substitute teacher. I am part of County District Number 1. And I am here to advocate that libraries are safe spaces.
Go away, Satan!
Quit thanking the troops for sacrificing their lives. Let's start saying, hey, government, how about you go fight these wars if you decide? I don't want to thank these men and women who joined the military because they had no other option.
I'm Michael Jordan. Stop it. Get some help.
Say, look, this is a moment where there are no bad ideas. A no bad idea brainstorm is what I'd like to call it. We talk about what we need to do and think about doing around the Electoral College. We talk about the idea of Supreme Court reform, which includes expanding the Supreme Court. We invite a conversation about multi-members districts.
What?
It appears we have another deranged teacher hoping for President Trump to die following the recent assassination attempt.
Everything I'm seeing allegedly says that the big thing happened, that it happened.
She then posted another video claiming the assassination attempt was fake.
God, I love that everybody knows that this is fake.
Clarence Thomas. This MF'er, I'm sorry guys, this black man right here, I don't know what kind of black he is. I don't know what damn plantation this man came from. I don't know which slave ship he was on. I don't know what part of the slave ship he was on. But I have never in my life met a black man who has never done any damn thing at all in the position that he has.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Can you imagine hanging out with or living with Wandalyn Gavan?
Mm.
I suddenly have so much sympathy for Speaker Ledbetter. And if you ever go to Montgomery and sit in the gallery and watch on like a hotly contested, debated bill, it's so entertaining, like Jerry Springer entertaining for about 5 minutes. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'd rather pull my toenails out because she gets going. There's a few of them and it just doesn't end. And she is like that for hours. It seems like.
And I'll tell you, I know from personal experience, that's not an act. That's her.
Oh my gosh.
That is her.
Do you want to tell that story?
Well, I'll just say when I was the producer for Dale Jackson, it was like 4 or 5 months into this job. And I don't know people in the state, like representatives and all of that. Like, I don't know who these people are yet. And I just got a text from him at night, because it's an early morning show. So it's like 7 o'clock at night. And he texts me this number and says, hey, call this number and ask him to come on the show. I don't know who this is or whoever. And I'm like, okay. And so I did. And it's Wandalyn Gavan. Okay. So I won't say the details of the conversation, except for apparently I was being impatient and she can read people really well. And my tone was very impatient and not very accommodating. And apparently I made her miss a call from Kamala Harris, allegedly. That's what she said. But then she went on the show the next morning and they literally argued for 30 minutes straight on the show. Dale and Wandalyn. And then she called me afterwards, and because that interview blew up.
Wait, she called you afterwards?
Not later that day. But because that interview kind of blew up in the
What
state.
did she say?
I think she really liked the attention she was getting, so her tone was a lot different. And she's like, "Hey," but then there were some people claiming that she said something to Dale in the interview. I can't remember what it was, but she was like, everybody's been saying, I cannot believe you said this to Dale Jackson. Did I? I don't think I said that. Did I say that? And with respect, she didn't. So I was like, no, representative, you didn't say that. But she all of a sudden was all like, she came on the show a couple more times. But
that's funny.
So it's real. But like, I think my first interaction with a representative in the state in this job was actually Wandalyn Gavan.
Besides Uncle Phil.
Yes, of course. Yeah, besides him.
Which could you have opposite ends of the spectrum?
No, you cannot.
Oh my word. Okay, well, she has lost her mind, but she loves it. She loves the attention. She loves the drama. She had on a Maduro-looking tracksuit. I wonder if that was like symbolism. What was the tranny clown?
At the beginning?
Yeah, that was terrifying.
So let's actually go back.
Advocating for kiddie porn?
Yeah.
Basically,
the funniest
as
part
I call it,
is if you look behind her in this crowd, one of the guys is wearing a Charlie Kirk Freedom hat. So, but like if you look at their family's reaction, it's so funny. Look to
hello, hi. I'm Morgana. I am a drag queen. I am an activist. I am a substitute teacher. I am part of County District Number 1, and I am here to.
They're laughing.
And they are so offended when we don't take them seriously and treat them as human beings. Like, I get it. Yeah, you technically are still a human being, but like, come on. Really?
Yeah. And then she goes,
And she's a student.
Or
He's a student teacher?
yeah, I think so. And he's advocating for libraries are safe spaces. So let me indoctrinate your child.
You know, as he was talking, I picture libraries are safe spaces, you know, like in the movies where there's like a little kid or somebody goes up to take a book off the shelf. And then there's that stalker killer that's been stalking them and their face is right there. And that's what I see. Hey, little child, want to look at my kitty porn?
Okay.
I promise it's safe.
Can we talk? I don't think we talked about this yesterday with John Wall, who is the library board chair. And where you were like, I call it kitty porn. Maybe it's not. And he goes, yeah, let's not call it that, please. He goes, yeah, let's not call it that.
Is porn for kids better?
No, it's not. But it's
Is
just
how to transition and cut off your genitalia for kids better?
No, but that may be a great strategy of yours. Cause like when you say kitty porn, they're like, and like, no, don't call it that. And you go, oh, okay. Well, it's just forcing kids to watch porn. And then they're like, oh.
It is literal porn in cartoon form for kids. Like and again, I did a deep dive into this and you know, I always have to say that Speaker Ledbetter was he actually passed the bill. It failed in the Senate, but that would get this stuff out of our libraries and off our kids' Chromebooks. He was very helpful with that with me because you look into it and you will be appalled. But I've still got to go find that document. I learned things from this kiddie porn that I didn't even know I didn't know was a thing.
Yeah.
And I won't go into it. It's pretty gross. But that's what they're putting in front of our kids on school paid for Chromebooks and in your public libraries and in front of your children. And there are people that actually argue for that. And then they will call you a book burner. Like, yeah,
like the Nazis
probably should burn those books.
The Nazis
actually
burned books.
Yeah, they were on the wrong side. No bad idea.
Yeah, Kamala Harris. Well, here's the part where like they're so open and honest about what they want to do. And yet this is, you know, kind of connecting to our conversation earlier about redistricting, whereas Republicans play it safe and the Democrats are like, no, we want to expand the Supreme Court. We want to get rid of the Electoral College. We want to have multi-representative districts, which I've never even heard of until that. Like the most insane things that will ruin this nation and just completely tear apart everything our founding fathers built this nation to be. And that, so what, if you send more people, if you send more Democrats that believe in that, that's what they're going to advocate for. So that is what we're going up against. Okay. And so you need to have a little bit more of chutzpah, like keep them from doing this. But it's just funny too, because you look at it and you laugh. You're like, that's just so insane. But they actually believe it and they mean it and they will do it. But it is just funny because like, that's just so crazy.
And that's who we're handing, you know, an extra seat to on a silver platter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, please take us all down this road.
And the teacher that I'll be honest, like the fact that there are teachers like that are teaching our kids is so crazy to me. Where she was like, did the big thing happen? Did Trump get assassinated?
Oh, I forgot about I was still stuck on the training clown. Yeah. Where was that? Do you know?
I don't know.
I hope it's not in Alabama. Don't think they're not here because they are.
Oh, they are.
We have a witchcraft teacher in Hoover.
Really?
Literally gave an English assignment about how great witchcraft was.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. That was years ago. I need to go find that stuff too. How much time do we have? Would you rather?
Oh, music's about to play. This is about perfect time for some
Would you rather?
Would you rather sneeze grated cheese or always have sweat that smells like maple syrup?
I love to sneeze in general.
Yeah, you do.
So if I could have some cheese coming out, that would be awesome. Like that would be hysterical.
Sitting here, it's like
It would make me laugh every time.
Italian restaurant eating spaghettis. I need more. I need more cheese. Oh, don't worry. Let me just wait.
What are you choosing?
Maple syrup smells good. So have you
Yeah,
sweated?
but then you would everything you touched you'd stick to.
Well, no, it's not actually maple syrup. It just smells like it. So your sweat smells like maple syrup.
Oh. I might want to change my vote. No, I'm still going cheese because that'd be funny.
Would you rather have fingers made of hot dogs or toes made of marshmallows? I'm going toes with marshmallows because I need my
I feel like
fingers.
walking on clouds.
I need my fingers to do my things.
Walking on clouds. I don't know. I'll go hot dogs. That would make me giggle too. Imagine trying to drive.
It's like having the acrylic nails.
Yeah.
Imagine you can't text though with the, like
You point, punch.
smush
Back
into
to like the old Blackberries. That's what you'd have to do. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll be back here Monday. How many more sleeps until election day?
1,
4?
2, 3.
3 more sleeps.
Yep.
And then we're quilling.
Well, no, 4 technically.
4 more sleeps and then we quill. So y'all make good choices this weekend. Please stay on the right side. We'll see you Monday.